Let's say you have worked to buy your first place. You grew up in a two-flat. The neighborhood you lived had mostly two flats, and you were used to living in that type of an environment. So, for your first house, you brought a brick 3-flat with a basement. This is your primary residence. The city says, hey, you have 4 units, and we are going to charge you money for having them. You're being charged money, having 4 units, and will get city inspections whenever they want to. Okay, so you are paying because you brought a 4 unit. Well, you are a saver and have some money in the bank, and these units can help fund your retirement and pay for themselves. So you decided to rent out what you can. After all, the basement was not fully completed. It has walls, heating, and a bathroom. However, it has horrible floors, exposed piping, and just isn't presentable. You rent out the floors you can over the years and fix what you can throughout the years. Then this happens. You knew about it, but no amount of stories or talk can even prepare you for what is about to happen. You get a tenant that stops paying. You have to evict the person, since the person does not want to leave. The person believes she's supposed to live there for free, and you are to keep losing money just to house her. You have to get a lawyer, and for months, have to wait for an eviction. It has been 8 months of non-payment, and you have no more savings left. All your years of saving and spending right went down the drain, just due to one tenant. You still have to fix things around the place and pay court fees, while after those 8 months, you finally get an order for possession from the court. This allows the county sheriff to go in and evict the non-paying tenant. Great. How long is that going to take, you think? Well, they don't tell you. It will happen whenever it happens. You will get a call 2 days before and will need somebody at the place. You only get a 2-day notice of when something you paid for is going to happen, and you need to be there. How can you be there and at work making money at the same time? It's an either or type of thing. This county has laws or ordinance to keep in non-paying tenants, charges you money for wanting to get them out, and then tell you you have to not work and wait for a 4-hour time gap with a 2-day notice. This county really does not like people that are responsible. They are going to take as much money from you as they want, since they are the only guys in town that can do this task of evicting. Oh well. You have to wait and not work that day. The sheriff comes, and you have to greet them outside since they don't come to the place without a representative. So you have to look for them, even if they park several houses down from your location. They tell you they might need to break the door to force entry, and it's your responsibility to repair it. You think, okay, if you need to do that to remove the person because you already know that the non-paying tenant is not going to open the door and she had changed the locks already. The officer then said they may not evict the person today. Now, a normal person would think, why in the hell would they not evict? But you aren't smart. You just say you understand. You know there's nothing special about this non-paying tenant. She has no kids, no physical disability, just an entitled single female. The officers tell you to stay on the first floor as they proceed to the second floor. They get to the apartment and start yelling for the tenant to open the door for a few times. The tenant doesn't open the door. The officers yell, "We are forcing entry, stand back." They proceed to use the battery ram on the door. You hear the tenant scream as they are ramming the door to break the area of the lock. The officers go in and yell to her, "Why didn't you open the door?" No clue what the non-paying tenant stated. You hear some conversations for over 10 minutes, maybe close to 20 minutes. From the mumbling that you hear from the apartment, you do hear that one of the officers had contacted someone over the radio. Through the mumble, one thing you do pick out. They are going to let this non-paying tenant stay. You think to yourself, what the hell? This person is not disabled, she's not elderly, she has no dependents. She's just an entitled 29-year-old. You spent months waiting for the courts along with over thousands of dollars. The county then took your money for this eviction. The county charged you money to do their job. Some people might think if the sheriff is the only department that can do evictions, that is part of their normal work, and Texas should have paid for it already. There should be no need for a taxpayer to pay extra for the sheriff to do their job. Oh well, after they finish with not doing their job, they come down the stairs single-filed. One of them informed you that they talked with social services and they decided to keep the tenant in. The reason was because of her emotional state. What does her emotional state has to do with getting possession back of the apartment, you think? However, the officer states they'll be back next week and nothing is going to stop the eviction at that time. Then in the same breath, the officer tells you to fix the door and the person that rammed the door chuckles when one of the officers say that you have to fix it or get a locksmith. These guys don't care about the order for possession. These guys don't care about you losing money due to the squatter living in the apartment. These guys don't care about causing more issues to you. What can you do? There's nothing you can do about this incident. The past is the past. However, what about the future? What about the sheriff that doesn't care about you? What about the corrupt lawmakers that does not care about homeowner property rights? There's only two things corrupt politicians care about: votes and money. You know alone you cannot affect the votes, and you will not impact their money. So what's important to you? Do you want to spend your money on a business that will not service you? A business that doesn't care about you and making you lose money and is actively preventing you from using your own property by making it so you can't remove a squatter? You pay this business via taxes. Most transactions done in the county get taxed by the county, if not all transactions. You can do nothing about property tax, but at least for the normal, regular aspect of life, like groceries or clothes shopping, you can do something about those taxes. To limit the amount of money that contribute to corruption, you decide to not buy within the county limits. Obviously, there are going to be small knickknacks or quick stops where it wouldn't be cost beneficial to go to another county. However, for the most part, you decide to minimize your contribution to corruption. Sheriff officers had came by to do an eviction on a Monday. They told me that they might not evict the tenant and if it's okay to break in the door. I told them sure, it's okay to break in the door if they need to. I had a locksmith guy to call, but just because I stated I was okay with the break-in of the front door, the officers didn't want to wait for the locksmith. They broke in the door. In a few minutes of them talking with the tenant, they decided to not do the eviction, and the non-paying tenant stays in the apartment continually not paying while I'm losing money. On top of that, I had to fix the broken door. They kept her in due to her emotional state. They never considered the landlord's emotional state. Just BS to keep her in there. I was told by the officers they would be back next week. I was not given a date when they would be back. Emailing the evictions department yielded me no reply. I then called the department on the same week's Friday and was just told to call Dawn, a social worker. I have no clue who Dawn, the social worker, is, and whatever she is supposed to do. The phone operator, in a quick attitude voice, Goodbye, and hung up. On the following Monday, I called the social worker number and she's part of the eviction department. The person didn't give me a reason for the call off of the eviction. Sounded like she was looking through paper and stated something about children or something about the person. Just vague BS. A social worker was assigned to be working with the tenant. I would get a call whenever my eviction goes back through the system. I spent $275 so the squatter could get a social worker to come and do whatever they do and give the squatter even more time to stay there. The government is running a scam, taking money and not doing their job. $275 was paid for an eviction to be done, which was not done due to emotional state of the squatter. They were going to come back next week? What would be the reason? Is the emotional state of the squatter going to change? How about the landlord that is constantly losing money? They are not concerned with my emotional state. It's just not as important because I pay taxes. This is corruption, where money is taken to not do the job the person was supposed to have done. Nowhere else would this behavior been acceptable except for the government. They get paid by landlords being able to pay their taxes. If the government doesn't want to service the people, then the government should not want to get paid. Since I live close to another state, I have the option to not buy in my state, county, or city. In this small effort, I would not be paying for no service except for the property tax that I have to pay. The other city, state, shopping center is about 20 minutes away. Plus, it was the other place I was looking to move to. That would at least get me used to going to the stores around in that area. These are some receipts from what I brought. The other state has a less tax rate. Now here is the tax rate of a Walmart from where I live at. You see it is 10.25%. And now here is another receipt from Walmart, which is located in the place that I'm interested in moving to. You see it's an even 7% tax rate. In addition to that, tax charge when purchasing from Amazon is based on where the items are to be delivered. So this is the Amazon How Tax is Calculated page. As you see on the fourth bullet point, the shipment or delivery address of your order. And then when you go down 2 more paragraphs, the tax rate applied to your order will be the combined state and local rates of the address where your order is delivered to or fulfilled from. For example, if you live in a state that does not impose a sales tax, you may see tax calculated on your order if shipped to another state. So this helps verify that the tax will be based upon where it is delivered. So this was just an example I was putting together, and here I have my normal address, and I just put one thing of soap into the cart. When you look to the right hand side, you will see the items, the shipping, and the total before tax and estimated tax to be collected. So I will go and change the address to a different pickup location that is in the new area. Okay, and now over here you see it's the same item, cost, but at least for here there's no shipping and handling, which surprising. And then there's the lower tax. Obviously, there are pros and cons to this. Pros would be cheaper tax rate, getting used to seeing the surrounding area and the other state. Cons would be having to go further to pick up Amazon deliveries. This would mean gas and time for this case. A greater chance of getting hit with traffic cams. Gas and time for general shopping are not in the cons since I try to not shop in my city anyway for the most things. I stopped due to tax being put on the plastic grocery bags. While it's not a bad thing to me, it is a bad thing for people with a mid to large family. They have to pay extra money to buying their groceries. Since I came from a large family, I know sometimes you need more bags than you think. These small fees or taxes can add up and eat away someone's budget. Sometimes you need to go to the store just for a few things, and that too require bags. And having to buy these bags from time to time is, again, it just eats up into the people with mid to large families' budgets. It's a tax on them. It's a tax on the family. Now back to the shopping in the other state. While I don't know the distance between where I mostly shop and the out-of-state store, I know the time is about the same. I would assume from that the distance is the same, so the gas and time would not change much from what I already do right now. For those traffic cams, it's just the city that I'm in. It's another reason to leave, too many taxes and fees with no service. Constantly losing money and everything is okay with the corrupt government. No other business would make you pay for something and don't deliver other than the government. They know small landlords have jobs, so they don't have the time to keep bringing government to court. We don't have deep pockets, so we don't have the money to pay for lawyers to keep bringing the government to court. Just as long as they keep getting their votes, they are happy, even though they are creating an environment that punishes workers and rewards bums.